Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our grade 6 coding class for today, 29 July 2020. I hope you guys all had a wonderful evening and that you're ready to take on this new day. Today, we are going to start something brand new, something we haven't looked at before, and I'm quite excited to share this with everybody. And that will be our functions. And we're going to do that in the harvester puzzles with our little farmer. For those of you guys that are joining us for the first time, I just want to say welcome and just introduce myself quickly. My name is Mike Geldenhuys, and everybody here just calls me Sir or Mr. G. So I hope we guys are ready for this. And it is quite an exciting part. Functions are quite an exciting part of coding. So let's get started with this. Okay, guys, so just what are our objectives for today? It is to recognize when a function could help to simplify a program, okay? And then to also use predetermined functions to complete commonly repeated tasks. Okay, we will see today as we look into functions, it is code that we write, we can even name it, and we will create our own blocks. And then we can actually recall those blocks anytime we want during our code. So functions are especially useful when we perform the same things over and over while we use our code, and we don't want to keep going back and writing the code for those specific actions. So that is what our function will do today. I'm not sure whether or not how much of it we're going to do, but over the next couple of lessons, there are a few very nice puzzles that we can actually do with our functions. Okay, guys, and then just the purpose for functions. It is meant to further push us to use functions in more creative ways, these lessons, but also using conditionals and loops. We will learn there are many ways to approach a problem, but some are more efficient than others. And then also, this is just still part of our coding in itself is very good for improving problem solving and critical thinking skills. Okay, guys, so let's just quickly look at some of the words that came up in our purpose and our objectives. So condition is something that we have dealt with before, and we know that that is a statement that a program checks to see if it is true. Okay, true or false. If true, that action is taken, otherwise it is ignored. Then loops. Loops we've also dealt with quite a bit, and we've now seen that there are a whole bunch of different loops depending on just our normal valued loops that we assign a certain value to. Then we also have our until loops, our repeat until goal loops. So we have dealt with a number of loops already, and we've seen that they are basically all do a similar job. It's just depending on whether the one will only start doing something at the end of an action, or an action that will be repeated over and over. Just depends on our objective, and that will depend on which one we will use. And then here's the one that we are going to focus on today, a function, a piece of code that you can easily recall over and over again. Okay. It might still sound a little strange. What are we going to do about that? But we will see once we get to code.org. Now here it is. Here's an example what our function block will look like. Okay. Guys, it is one of these green blocks, and you'll see it either says do something or function inside. And this is where we can actually name our block anything we want. Okay, so what is a function? Like I said, it's a piece of code that you can easily recall over and over again. Okay, and we can also create our own functions. And then once you've created a function, it will become available in your toolbox, and then it will be there for you to use. Okay, so how do we create our own functions? Let's say, for example, something that we have done already is just draw a square. So we can actually write this function here, square. Here they have one example of build short bridge. And then there's steps for how to build a short bridge. All the steps of how to build a short bridge. In our case, if we said square, all the steps of how to draw a square. Okay, then there's our new block that comes available in our toolbox, build short bridge. Now, every time, let's say, for example, you are moving across a map and you come across a gap where you need to build a bridge, then you can actually instead of writing the code to build the bridge, you just go click that one block, drag it in place, because the code is already built in, and you can just place it and the action will be performed inside this block. And then there's the code for the block. And in this case, I think it is a Minecraft block. If I see the words on here, a netherrack. Yeah, I think we've seen that in Minecraft. Now, that is how we build a short bridge. And Adeline says, yes, it is Minecraft. Okay, so the example I've used here is a Minecraft, but this is just to give you an idea of how we write our own functions, and then those blocks become available. Now, these functions, they will just float around on your workspace. They won't take up any space, but once we get there, you'll see we just drag out of the way, or normally they go right at the bottom of your code, and they just keep moving down to make space for the code that we are actually going to run. And in this case, it will only be build short bridge. Now, another thing that's going to change a little bit, because we have come to a place where we have so many blocks in our toolbox is changing a little bit. It's changing a little bit. Okay, so now in your toolbox, all your items will be broken up in categories. Okay, so we have actions, and then within your actions, if you click on, say if we see here, click on the different categories to see which blocks you have. So there is a lot more for us to use. So actions we have, and then it shows all your actions. And if you go into loops, it will show you all your loops. Functions, those will all be all the new functions that we are going to write. Or if they give us a specific goal, then maybe they will give us some functions, but then they will be available in there. And remember our comments block, our comment block will just be for our own use. If you want to keep some notes, it doesn't add to your code. It's just for reference purposes or to remind you of something, and then put in comments, but that is a separate category. Okay, so even further on, we will get other things as well. We will get, if we change colors, or if we add patterns, or if we, all those kind of things will be added in here. So now, if we go to our toolbox, we will see categories, and then you need to know, where am I going to find my blocks? Is it a command? Is it a loop? Is it a conditional? So then we just have to select the category and then find the block we want to use. Okay, guys, so then let's go to code.org. If you give me a moment, I am going to quickly switch between programs, and then I will share the link with everybody. Okay, there we go. There's my little harvester. I'm going to share the link with everybody. If you are in, please let me know I'm in, just so that I am aware or know when I can start. There we go. There's the link. I'm going to give you guys a little while just to get in, get ready. And I see Jocelyn is in, Michael's in. Okay, guys, for those of you that are in already, you can watch the video. And I think this is a nice one because I think the first couple, until we get to the next video, which is puzzle number 8, it takes us back a little bit, simplifies things a little. So for all those of you that are new, that are joining us, this is a nice fresh start. We're going to do some basic actions first, just to warm us up a little bit. So it's a nice way to just fall in and actually see some of the basic actions that we can perform. Okay, guys, so I hope everybody is ready. I'm going to move on to puzzle number 2. As you know, we can't watch the videos while we broadcast, so just for copyright purposes. Okay, guys, here we have our little harvester. Let me just make the blocks a little bit bigger so you guys can see. And I'm going to run through just our program or Codeorg as we see it now. Remember, we still have our 4 areas. We have our play area where all the actions are performed. We have our instructions where we find what our goals and objectives are. This one for today, we have met before, or have we met before? I'm the harvester. Help the harvester get the pumpkin and pick it. And then we have our toolbox. And as you can see, we have a bit of a new view to our toolbox and our workspace where we build our code. Now, guys, let's quickly go through our toolbox just to see what we have available. If we go to our actions, we see we have our move, turn, and pick. Actions, loops, we have the repeat, we have the while there is, and then we have the while path ahead. Okay, so those are all our loops. Inside our conditionals, we've got quite a few conditionals. If path, what do we do? If path, our do else. If there, do else, just our if. And then, strangely enough, our loops are down here as well inside our conditionals. Just remember, a loop, these loops have conditions built into them. Okay, so while is a condition. It will perform an action while there is something still to do. So that is why they are here in our conditional blocks as well. And then here's our new one, functions. Now here we can see there is a do something. Okay, so at the moment there are no function blocks available, but we will get to that and we will actually start writing our own blocks. Okay, so let's just quickly look at our puzzle and what they want us to do. Okay, so right here, very easy puzzle, and all they want us to do is move forward. Now, here is where everybody's code might be different, because now we will start doing all sorts of different things. That is also okay. Because there are only 3 spots, you could just do move, 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 and pick pumpkin. So so we could move forward. I don't even think we have a normal loop. Did I see it? No, I didn't see a normal loop. So there we go. We could either do it this way and move forward 3 times, and then go to our actions and pick pumpkin. So that will work. I'm going to put it there because that is still 4 blocks. We've used 5, but we've got that one. That's okay. That is one way of doing it. Then remember, we can repeat until there are pumpkins. We can repeat this action. What are we going to repeat? We are going to move forward. And then once we get to the pumpkin, what are we going to do? We are going to pick a pumpkin. Okay, so there's another option for us. And I think we'll use that one because I saw it was 4 blocks. And now we can also go to our conditionals. We can say if path ahead, what are we going to do? We are going to move forward. Okay, then we can just say actions, pick pumpkin. And I think that one will also work because while there's a path ahead, we will move, stop, and then pick the pumpkin. So that is an option. As you guys can see now, they are different because this is such a simple puzzle right now. It is easy because there are no turns. A lot of these will work. And I see we've got some new students joining us. Let me just share the link again. There we go. Okay, guys, so remember, there are a whole, I'm sure if we go play around and see what is in here, we'll be able to do some other things as well. So we've used the, oh, here's a while path ahead. While path ahead loop, we can use that as well. What are we going to do? We're going to move forward. That's very similar to our if path ahead. But as you guys can see now, actions, pick pumpkin. And I'm sure we can run all of these. Run, if path, while path ahead, move forward, and then pick pumpkin. Look at that. That one works. We can put that there. We can put the other one inside. The repeat until pumpkins. Run. So any one of these work. So guys, never be afraid to try out things. Use what you've learned. Use the blocks, see what they do. If we add this one, I'm just going to show you guys all these codes that we've done work. Oh, there we go. This one didn't work. If path ahead, do move forward. Okay, so that is just one command. There was no loop in here. So this one I can throw away. I wasn't thinking. And then here we go. That one will also work. Let's reset and run. Look at that. Okay, so all those work. And this is just for us to see that, you know what, there are ways that we can solve puzzles that are different than your friends, different than your teacher. The only thing that we are trying to learn here is, as they said in our objectives, which one is more efficient? Okay, when we get to a point where this one was nice and short. So all our codes were about 4 or 5 blocks long. It wasn't a very big difference in the amount of blocks we've used. But now just imagine that here we only had the previous one that I threw away was 1 block more than this. But think about, we had an entire field of pumpkins. That 1 block might have become quite a bit extra code in our program, that we didn't really need because we could have done it in a better way. So we always just have to think about, what is more efficient. And that is what they want us to see in these puzzles. Okay, so let me run this so we can move on to puzzle number 3. But for me, guys, right now it is more important for us to reach the goals than see in how little code you can actually complete the puzzles, because we are still very new with this. It does, for now, it is just for us to get used to the idea of coding. Okay, guys, and like I explained, here's our new function block. What we are focusing on today, functions. Ooh, veggies are cropping up everywhere. Now help the harvester pick all the corn on the way to the pumpkin at the end. Now guys, remember our functions. This is just on the side. We can move it around out of the way. I like just putting it on the side so it isn't in my way. Now remember, with our new look to the toolbar as well, because we've got so many options available now, they don't just want us to scroll through it. They also want us now to start thinking about what it is that we are using. Is it an action we are using? Is it a loop that we are using? Just so that we can familiarize ourselves with what the different concepts and aspects of coding is. Okay, so if we look at our function, they tell us to check square for corn. Okay, so now here we have a new, now we don't have to write a code to check each square for corn. But we have to familiarize ourselves first with what does this function do? Okay, so if there is corn, pick it. Okay, that's all that this function is going to do. If there is corn, pick it. And remember, you will find this function, check square for corn. And remember, I want to show you here, you can actually name this anything you want. And all I can give you, the only tip I can give you here is when you name your functions, name them in such a way that when you recall them, that you know that is what it is that is inside. Because it doesn't help you just say corn up here, because it could be different things about corn that you are going to do. We might write a function for peel the corn, or we might have a function for pick the corn. We might have a function for cook the corn. So it just depends on what you're going to do. So rename your functions so that you'll be able to know exactly what they do. And then if you go to our toolbox and we click on functions over here, look at that. There's our check square for corn. It is now available inside our toolbox as a new block that we can use. And every time we use that block, all that code is written into it. Okay, so if we check our puzzle, let's make this puzzle a little bit bigger. Okay, so the first thing we still need to do is we need to move forward, or we still have our pumpkin here, so we can go and check let's see our loops, which loops are available. We have the repeat until pumpkins. That's a cool one. We've used that one quite a bit, and we see that there's a pumpkin at the end. So I can use that one, or we can do the while path ahead. Let me show you while path ahead. What are we going to do? We are going to, now here, while path ahead, the first thing we are going to do is move forward. Okay? But as we move forward, we also need to check if there's any corn. So let's check for corn. Now you can see this check for corn is now a block that we can use. Just remember that check square for corn includes the amount of blocks over here. So if I take it out, you'll see it, okay, it's still counting it because it's on my function here. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we see we have 4 blocks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here we have 5, 6. I wonder why it's showing us 7. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's strange. I don't know why it's showing us 7. But it does count the code that is inside that square. Just remember that. Okay, so let's run this. There we go. So our little farmer checks every square for corn because it's written into our check square for corn. And now the only thing we have to do is we have to pick the pumpkin right at the end. Pick pumpkin. And we can change this while path ahead also to repeat until there are pumpkins. So that's okay. You don't have to worry about that. Let's see what's available inside our drop down arrow here. Okay, well, we're not going to use that. And I see someone did say that theirs were also showing 7, but I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe it was just a little error, but that doesn't matter. So we still managed to complete our code all the way to the end. Now we just have to pick our pumpkin. Let's reset. There we go. Easy as that. So I hope you guys are starting to see what our function option is going to do. It's just going to make, because remember it's there. Now we can just drag it in every time we want to use it. Here we still have our check square for corn. So let's see, what do we need to do? Use the function to help the harvester pick the corn and pumpkins. We'll see that there's more than one pumpkin. Okay. Each sprout will either grow 1 corn or nothing. So they are telling us this. So they didn't really have to make sprouts, but all that it shows us that there will either be nothing or there will be 1. So when we write our code, we have to remember to include that there's a possibility of there being nothing. So if you write your code, it needs to check, and that is why we use the if, which is quite a nice conditional block. If it's there, it will do it. If it's not, it won't. Remember, what is a condition? It's a statement our program checks to see if it is true or false. If it's true, it will perform the action. If it's false, it will ignore the action. So that's quite cool. So guys, here we see we have 2 lines. At the end of each line, we have a pumpkin. So we can use that cool function. Listen to me. The cool conditional loop that we have is repeat until there are pumpkins. But you can also use the while path ahead. It's up to you. I'm just going to use the repeat until there are pumpkins. And then what am I going to do? What am I going to do until I reach a pumpkin? I'm going to move forward. And I'm also going to check every square. But now I don't have to write the code for this because I have the code already in my functions. Check square for corn. So I can just go to my functions, check square for corn, and I'm going to run it to see if it works. Perfect. So that works well. Okay, that works well. Now I just have to pick my pumpkin and then move on to the next row. And that is just something that we have done a few times already. So I'm going to turn left, move forward twice, and then turn left again. And remember, you have your step action down here to see what happens if you go step by step. We're currently on the repeat. What are we going to do? Move forward and then check. And you will see that your code jumps. If it doesn't show us here, it jumps to the function and then it runs the code in here. You can see it selected this yellow one over here. If we go next step, it's going to go to the pick corn. And then we move next, move forward. If there's corn, let's pick corn. There we go. There's corn. So now it's going to pick the corn and then it's going to repeat again. And we can go step by step through our code to see that what happens. There we go. We've picked the pumpkin now. Now we are going to turn left, move forward, and turn left. And then it's basically the same thing that we did down here. We can just repeat until there are pumpkins and move forward and check square. So we're just going to repeat all that. So let's go to our loops. Repeat until there are pumpkins. What am I going to repeat? I'm going to move forward. And then here again, see now it's a, think of you, maybe you had 100 lines or 100 rows with corn. Now it's easy. Now we just turn and we're going to use our function again. And you will see later on, we will even use functions within functions, which is quite cool. And then we just have to remember right at the end, we have to pick up our pumpkin. So we can reset and run. There we go. Oops, okay, I clicked on that by mistake, but guys, remember, this is our Java code. If you want to look at Java at any time, you'll be able to just click on Show Code, and it will actually show you the JavaScript behind our code. Here you can see Get Pumpkin, turn left, move forward, move forward. So it looks very similar to what we've done. Java code is just a little bit more difficult. You have to remember all your brackets and your colons and exclamation marks. So that's just something that you're going to have to get used to, but you can basically still see that it is easy to read because we understand what we just did. Okay, so here's our function, check square for corn. You write it the same way. And then what does it do inside that? If has corn, get corn. So you can see JavaScript, if you want to learn a little bit, see what each block looks like in JavaScript, you can come here and have a look. Okay, and this one, let's read the instructions quickly, and then I'm going to see if someone can help me solve it. I feel so functional. Our little harvester always has such bad jokes. Now, there are multiple pumpkins in each patch. Look carefully at the function definitions below to figure out how to use each one. Each sprout will either grow one corn or nothing. And remember, they give us the values because later on we will have to use conditionals to keep on picking the crop that is available until there are no more, because sometimes there isn't just one, there could be a whole bunch. And we have to write our code in such a way that we don't leave any crops behind. Let's move my function block up here. This one looks very similar to the last one we've had. Let me just see the multiple pumpkins. Now, all it says here is that at the end of each line, so it's very similar to our previous one, but at the end of each line, we could have more than one pumpkin. Okay, so I want to see who's going to help me solve this one. And I think the first hand that went up was Kia. Oh, but I see, yes, Kia. So I'm going to unmute Kia and see if Kia wants to help us. Hi, Kia, how are you?
Hello, sir.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Kia, can you help us solve this puzzle?
No, sir, I put up my hand because I would like the link.
You like the link. Okay. If you see that I don't see it, because sometimes when I teach, I don't see it, just send it in the chat box. That pops up on my screen. So that's a bit better for me to spot. Okay. Thanks, Kia.
Okay, ma'am.
I'm going to share it with you right now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
No problem. There we go. There's the link. And yes, I've just noted, look at that. There's another function hiding down here. Thank you for that. I'm not sure. I didn't see the name, but somebody said to me, please check. There's another function down there. Okay, so there we go. There's our second function. Let's quickly look at what is in our functions before we start writing our code. So our first function is the one that we've seen in the previous puzzle. It says check square for corn, and then if there is corn, do pick corn. And then we also have our there we go. I see it was Strasher that gave me the heads up about the other function block. Okay, guys, here we have our second function is get all pumpkins. And the word here is we have to focus on all. And look at this. We have our while. While there are pumpkins, what are we going to do? Pick it. So it doesn't matter if there is only one or if there is 100. Our little farmer will pick while there are pumpkins. Only once that condition is no longer true will our farmer stop. Okay, so there we go. What is our first step? Now we see here, that is cool. We can check each square. We've got that. Here we have get all pumpkins. That's quite cool. Let's go through our toolbox just to see what we have available. We have our move and turn and pick commands. We have the repeat until there are pumpkins, while there is our crops, and then while path ahead, our conditionals. And look, they've used our conditionals inside our function, if there, and our functions. Now we can see down here, there are two functions in our toolbox. Check square for corn, get all pumpkins. And I see I still have a hand up, Michael. So let's unmute Michael. Hi, Michael. How are you? That's good, Michael. So are you going to help us, Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. Michael, what is our first step? What do we want to do?
So we want to move forward and pick the corn.
We want to move forward. So what action am I going to perform?
So you can put while path ahead, move forward.
So let's go to our loops. So inside our loop, we can see we have while path ahead. That's a great one to use. We could also use the repeat until there are pumpkins, but let's follow Michael's way. While path ahead, he said we are going to move forward. Okay, great. What's our next step, Michael?
We're also going to add check square for corn in the while path ahead.
So we are going to, while we move, we want to check every square for corn. And remember, we're only going to add that function. Let me move these up a little bit. Okay, we don't have to write the code for the picking the corn because it's inside our square. Okay, yes. What's our next step, Michael?
Then get all pumpkins out of the while.
On the outside. Okay. I just quickly want to share a link again. I see somebody asked for the link. There we go. Yes. Remember, then we are going to functions. That's our new function, get all pumpkins. Because now we have a question mark down here. We cannot just pick it once because there might be more than one. Okay, so what's our next step, Michael? Let's quickly run this so we can just check to see if everything works perfectly right now. Okay, I like running my code. Run. It's just a little slow. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, so what do we do next, Michael?
So we turn left and then move forward.
Turn left and move forward. 1,
And then
2 times.
we move forward again, so and then we turn left again.
And then we are going to turn left. Okay, great. And then what are we going to do?
We're going to put a repeat until there are pumpkins, a block. So.
What kind of block is a repeat until there are pumpkins?
So it's a conditional and a loop.
There we go, beautiful. So we can use, and I like it because now you've used one of each. You've used the while path ahead and you are using the repeat. So what are we going to put inside?
Move forward and check square for corn.
Move forward and then our function, check square for corn. And then right at the end, what do we need to do?
Get all pumpkins.
There we go, get all pumpkins. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to run your code and we're going to see what happens, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, guys, beautiful. So let's quickly reset and run our code from the start. Let's run. There we go. 4 pumpkins this time and 2 pumpkins at the end. There we go. Beautiful. And remember, I just want to reset that quickly. I want to show you guys. I'm not going to reset. I'm not going to go back now just to save some time. We have to remember that there could be any number of pumpkins underneath our code. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop over here. I want you guys to write this one for me as a homework puzzle. Okay. Yes. And Michael was right. Great job. Okay. We're not going to have time to finish the next one. We only have 2 minutes. So I want you guys to do this as a homework puzzle for me and then send it to me on my email address. Okay. Remember, we still have both functions available. Go check your function category so that you can use it. Okay. And I see Michael says he's actually already done. So Michael, please send it to me. And let me quickly send the link again because I see, and then please send it to me. I want to see what you guys did. And I will go through to my slides now to show you my email. Sorry guys, I shared it privately again. Just going to change it. There we go. There's the link. Do this one as homework for me. It's very similar to the one we've just done. We just have an extra step at the end here. So try and solve it for me. Send it to me and then we will carry on with this one tomorrow. Guys, I want to just switch to my slideshow. Here we go. There's my email address, mgeldenace81@gmail.com. I think the best for you guys, I've heard some of the other students do it and it works quite well for them. They just take a picture of this screen and then they have my email address on their phones. So then you guys can send me questions and your homework to this email address. If you have any questions for the school, you can also send it over there. Guys, and I see someone wants to ask me a question, so I'm just going to hold on a little bit, but I'm going to say goodbye to everybody in the meantime. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and then I'll see you guys again here tomorrow, same time, same place. Just waiting for that one question to come through quickly. But then I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye, guys.